The Indiana Fever just detonated the kind of bombshell that shakes an entire league to its core. Hours, literally hours, after being eliminated from the postseason, the front office didn't even wait for the dust to settle. They released 8 players in one night. 8. In a move so sudden, so shocking, it sent shockwaves through every corner of the WNBA. Phones started buzzing. Agents scrambled for answers, and even rival coaches were blindsided. It wasn't just a roster change. It was a message. The Fever weren't just cleaning house, they were burning it down to the foundation. Inside the Fever locker room that night, the air was thick with uncertainty. Players who had battled through the grind of a long, emotional season sat in stunned silence, realizing that the end of their playoff run might also be the end of their time in Indiana. There were no fiery speeches, no promises of next year, just whispers, rumors about who would be next, about whether head coach Stephanie White would survive the purge, and about one name that loomed larger than all others, Caitlin Clark. Because let's be honest, this wasn't just about 8 players. This was about power, about identity, about a franchise trying to redefine itself around the most polarizing, electrifying rookie the WNBA has seen in years. Clark's arrival turned the Fever into a spectacle, a marketing goldmine, and a team under the kind of microscope that few could withstand. But with all that attention came pressure, and behind the scenes, it was clear that not everyone agreed on how to build around her. For months, sources say, tension simmered between the front office and Coach White. The offense felt forced, rigid, too controlled. Everything that made Clark special at Iowa seemed stifled in Indiana. Instead of the free-flowing, instinctive read-and-react basketball that defined her college dominance, the Fever had turned into a playbook-heavy, mechanical machine. By season's end, it wasn't just opponents wearing Clark down. It was the system itself. When the elimination buzzer sounded, the message from ownership was clear. Enough was enough. This team wasn't going to waste another season trying to fit Clark into a system that didn't fit her. And that's when the calls started. Before sunrise, agents were notified. By the next afternoon, 8 players were out. The names came fast. Bree Hall, Shea Petty, Natasha Howard, Damiris Dantas, Ariel Powers, Lexi Hull, Sydney Colson. Each one carrying their own story, their own role in the team's journey. Some were veterans who had given their all. Others were role players who never quite found their footing. But together they represented a chapter that was closing. The Fever weren't just cutting players, they were cutting ties with an era. Fans reacted instantly. Social media erupted with hashtags like Thash Fever Purge and Bosh Clark era, while analysts tried to make sense of the decision. Some called it ruthless but necessary. Others labeled it a panic move, a desperate attempt to please the fan base and sponsors orbiting around Caitlin Clark's stardom. Whatever side you were on, one thing was undeniable. The Indiana Fever had everyone's attention. But beneath the surface of this shakeup lies a deeper strategy, one that's as much financial as it is tactical. By releasing those 8 contracts, Indiana cleared millions in cap space, giving them flexibility they haven't had in years. This wasn't just about basketball, it was about leverage. In a league where every dollar matters, the Fever's front office, led by executive Amber Cox, is playing the long game. The plan is simple. Surround Clark with shooters, floor spacers, and smart, adaptable players who can thrive in her rhythm. Build a system that mirrors what made her unstoppable in college, only faster, sharper, and more efficient, and that's exactly what insiders say the Fever are preparing to do. Expect a roster built for speed and instinct, players who can move without the ball, anticipate passes before they're made, and stretch defenses beyond their comfort zone. One source joked that next year's training camp motto will be, "If you're not ready to shoot, cut or move, don't show up." The Fever want to run, they want to flow, and most importantly, they want Caitlin Clark to feel like herself again. But that shift doesn't come without casualties. Stephanie White, the coach who once earned praise for steadying a young team, now finds herself squarely in the crosshairs. Insiders describe growing friction between her and the front office, with her structured playbook clashing against the franchise's new vision. Some say she's been too rigid, too slow to adapt. Others argue she's been scapegoated for injuries and inconsistent depth. Whatever the truth, the next few months could determine her future. Because if she can't evolve with Clark's game, the next name leaving Indiana might be her own. Inside the organization, the balance of power has shifted completely. The veterans who once commanded the locker room are gone. What's left is a young, hungry core centered around two players, Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Clark brings the fire, Boston brings the foundation, and together they've become the heartbeat of this rebuild. Kelsey Mitchell, the longest-tenured Fever star, remains a crucial link between the old guard and the new order, a player whose leadership could determine whether this transition thrives or implodes. Still, not everyone's comfortable with the new dynamic. Some remaining players have quietly expressed concern that the team is becoming the Caitlin Clark show. Others worry that the pressure being placed on one young star could be too much, too soon. But the front office isn't flinching. They see this as the cost of greatness. Every era of transformation has its growing pains, and Indiana's made it clear that this is the direction they're going, whether everyone's on board or not. Financially, the Fever's moves make sense. Emotionally, they're brutal. Natasha Howard's departure, for example, wasn't just a salary cut, it was a signal. Howard's experience and resume demanded respect, but her production didn't match the price tag. Sydney Colson, a beloved veteran known for her humor and leadership, also became a casualty of the rebuild. The Fever aren't paying for personality anymore, they're paying for performance. In the eyes of management, loyalty doesn't win championships, alignment does. And for all the criticism the Fever are facing, the results of their gamble are already visible. Ticket sales remain strong. National broadcasts feature the team weekly. And for the first time in years, the Fever feel relevant, like they're part of something bigger than just a rebuilding phase. They've become the center of the WNBA conversation. Every fan, every analyst, every rival team is watching to see what happens next. Because make no mistake, this isn't just a roster reset. It's a revolution. The Fever aren't quietly rebuilding, they're openly reinventing. This is about crafting an identity that mirrors Caitlin Clark's essence, fearless, fast, and free. The front office isn't hiding the fact that this franchise now belongs to her. Every play, every signing, every strategy revolves around unleashing her full potential. But with that comes the ultimate test. Can Indiana translate vision into victories? Can they take all this energy, all this hype, and turn it into something that lasts? Because in the end, talent and marketing only take you so far. Championships are built on chemistry, sacrifice, and execution. The Fever's next season could be historic or disastrous. It could be the start of a dynasty or the collapse of an overhyped experiment. What's clear is that there's no going back. Indiana has chosen its path, and it's one paved with risk, ambition, and an unwavering belief in the future of Caitlin Clark. This isn't just the start of a new chapter, it's the beginning of an entirely new book. One written in bold ink, filled with pressure, promise, and potential. The Fever have cleared the deck, redefined their vision, and declared to the world that the Caitlin Clark era isn't coming. It's already here. And now, all that's left is to see whether this bold gamble will make the Indiana Fever the WNBA's next great success story, or its most unforgettable cautionary tale. If you were running the Fever, would you have made the same call? Was this a masterstroke of leadership, or a desperate move to save face? Drop your thoughts below and let's talk about it. And if you're ready for more deep dives into the wild world of women's basketball, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because this story is only just beginning.